Hello, pedal people. You see me smile because I have authentic Italian coffee from this coffee maker. Everyone tells me it's not authentic Italian coffee, but I don't give a rat's ass because it's good. And I'm in Italy, and it's early. We got up at 4. We as Dave, which is Cheddar Kung Pao behind the camera, and Leslie, who doesn't want to be filmed, but she will be. And frankly, who's Frank? I don't know where we are, or what, or how, or why. I just know that my friends Fabrizio and Andrea are there, the crazy Italians behind the KLonz amp, and something about pedals and little fiddly bits on circuit boards, and it's some kind of circuit boardy place. So this is about as much as I can tell you. And now they're going to try to explain things to me in Italian, and I'm going to translate for you, of course, because I speak fluent Italian. And then, which is Hungarian for Italian. And then you learn about circuit boards made in Italy, which is like, you know, the high grade shit. Something about, I don't know, I'll find out. So when the camera is going on next, I know a little bit more. And every time the camera goes on, I know a little bit more. So stay with me and learn shit. So we're here kind of at stage 1, which is, this company actually has nothing to do with this. This is how it arrives here. That's a PCB, which stands for pretty crooked board.
Printed the circuit board. Okay.
Cricket, circuit, what? God, I'm tired, but that was good coffee. It's Andrea and Fabrizio. Very, very clever people. Printed circuit board. So, to those of you who don't know what that means, and trust me, I know I'm mansplaining to many of you, but I didn't know what's a circuit board. Imagine you take wires and you wire things up, but then you want to do it more efficiently. Instead of having the wires, you actually have the metal of the wires blank without an actual cable on a wooden kind of a board thing. But wouldn't be good because something with electricity. So you take something that's non-electrically and you literally print the wires on it. And then you already have the connections that you need to make. And look how tiny the connections are. So, Andrea just explained that this is like 4 in 1, all on one board. Later they just break it apart. But this is easier to assemble than doing one at a time. And they might even order these, depending on how many pedals you want to buy, in bigger sheets. But that happens somewhere. He doesn't even know where. He just yells into the mountains.
It's a miracle.
He's like, I need a circuit board, and then they arrive. And he leaves money outside next to the milk, and then the circuit boards are here.
Yes.
So now we're gonna, and of course you design this.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
And
we can show you afterwards how to design it.
So now what we need to do is we need to put small components on there, which are what?
SMD.
SMD, which stands for small MD.
Small managing director. Yes, exactly. Surface mounted device.
Small to medium dick. I said it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
What is it? What does it mean? Surface mounted
Device.
Surface mounted components. No. Component. No. Surface mounted device. So really tiny things, which I know people in the pedal world discuss SMD versus through the whole.
THT.
What?
THT. Through hole terminal, which is bigger. Yeah.
The big ones are the small ones. And this guy has ears. This guy doesn't. But this guy, he's a synth guy. Come on. What does he know about guitars? They did tests, and they said they can't tell the difference. And I'm pretty sure that someone like Brian Wamp and all these guys did tests, and they can't tell the difference. Now, of course, there's companies like Jam Pedals that do everything through hole and discrete components, and they love that, and you love that. But let's not start a whole discussion worth this versus that, because in the end, you don't care as long as it sounds good. So shut your trap. Then we need the jacks, the twisties.
Yeah, big components.
Big stuff, which is done here by hand, and we're gonna look at that. And then they need to be soldered, fixed to the thing, which then again another machine does. So now we're gonna go from machine A to person B to machine C. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I understand things. I'm not as stupid as this shredder looks. So let's go. So Leslie is very intrigued by all of this, right? Yeah. Interesting, huh? So let me explain to you how this works, okay?
Okay.
Because you clearly didn't get it. So there's these tiny things, and the machines we've just looked at that those people are seeing while I'm talking, put the really tiny things on there because no one's got those tiny hands, even you. Okay? And they're called SMD, which stands for small something again. Some surface mounted device. Haha. And now the question is, but why don't they just take little wires and or homemade circuit boards like some of those pedal makers? Well, because apparently, as I learned, SMD components are more uniform. They have much narrower tolerances because they're being built in, well, they're the modern way of doing a transistor and other words in electronics. And all those electronic words they put on there, and they are better components. Now, does a small one sound different than a big one? Well, technically it shouldn't, because it's the more modern, betterer version. But definitely smaller tolerances. So when you have the bigger transistors, and you can't guarantee that every pedal is going to be exactly the same. So if they want quality control, which they're very, they're Italians, they want really good shit. So that way they can guarantee that the quality is exactly as they said. I want that thing to have this many inputties and this many outputty voltages. It's absolutely guaranteed that it's correct. Do you understand that? Do you care? Okay. And then there's this thing here. Get out of my way, people. And then Fabrizio goes into, this is an oven, think of butter and baking.
Yeah.
And that's where he lost me. I'm like, what? You make pizza while you make pedals? What's with the Greek? Think of cooking. What? So I'm gonna have to ask more before I'm back. So I see you in a few minutes.
Let's say that 99%.
What? You are filming? Oh, I have just been explained things so I can explain them to you. So even though this, you have to be very careful. That's the one that's not fixed.
That one is soldered.
You're sure?
Yeah. Almost.
If I turn this on its head now, everything falls down. It's your fault. So I'm not gonna
try to move something. Oh yes. Oh, I have moved. It's soldered.
Fabrizio.
I broke.
He just bought this. So, the way it comes out of the Sumde machine, which is made in Germany, by the way, is it places. Look at Dave. Can you focus in on this? So all these components are placed, and on the connections there's a soldering paste, or a solder paste for the Americans. And none of these components are now fixed, but the paste is very, very thin, and it goes now into the oven. And in the oven, that paste kind of melts and puts the connections in place. So what Fabrizio just did by destroying this, because it's literally, I can actually see the paste. I don't think you can, Dave. Right there, there's a little bit of a paste at the bottom. Probably
macro lens.
It's not a macro lens. So this is all still wiggleable. And now, once it goes through the oven, give me this.
This one is
once it goes through the oven, see what Fabrizio did on this component. You can't move it. He should have used this board, but Fabrizio is, in the head. But then, here's someone sitting with a magnifying glass over here, checking each individual board. Not everything is checked, but in this case, there are actually bigger components that need to be placed by hand. So sometimes, you know what? All these machines can't do shit. You need people. And that's why you need these Italian people to place these Italian parts on Italian boards. I don't actually know if they're from Italy, but I'm saying things. So I'm starting to understand what SMD means. So I just learned that inside this oven, and there's several ovens, I don't know what the plural for oven is. Ovens. There is a temperature profile, which means you don't just shove the circuit board in there and it goes hot, soldered, done, to really have a stable connection and make sure that it melts at a certain point, then really melts, and then really, cools. Look at the temperatures of this. It slowly goes up to 250 degrees Celsius, and then bam, goes to 90, 70, 60. Very interesting, because I would have thought that, make it hot, make it cold, we're good. No, that's not how it is. And someone has to figure this all out. Smart Italians. They figured it out. So here, now we go to the next step where the bigger components get placed. Through the hole, through the would be TT. Through the hole.
Terminals.
Through hole terminal. I think through the hole, that's TTH. But THT, through hole terminal. So pretty much literally put components through a hole and solder it. Or solder it. And in most cases, like in this prototype of the pedal, you can clearly tell, no, I can't, maybe you can, Andrea did that by hand. Actually, if I did it, it would just have a big blob of solder on there, but this doesn't because he knows what he's doing. But imagine you could take these through the whole things and automate that. So what they're doing here, apparently is something rather special. I'm just like, what does that pedal do? These bigger components, like the jacks, like this little trash can, the 9-volt, which is PCB mounted. You know, I have a pet peeve about that. This switch and these wah controls, wah, I don't know what it does. And probably this little fire engine light. They're placed, and then they go in a machine that does this automatically, which will reduce the cost of when you do many pedals. It'll speed it up because all they have to do, place them. I don't want to diminish the work of the nice ladies doing this, but they don't have to solder it. They place them correctly. It goes in the machine. Of course, if it's mechanized, it should reduce the cost of the pedal.
Yeah, and all the solderings are perfect and constant. Quality is best.
He's all about, let's make it really high quality. Let's make it really good for the people that get the pedal. High quality stuff. I don't know what's up with that. So if you then look here, the nice lady placed these components, which means I could go take this off.
Yeah, that's just placed.
Yeah, I can take this off, just replace this with this, and totally mess up the pedal. And now it's doing something completely different. Haha, no, both are B10K, so I can't actually mess this up. Damn it. But I could place this in some other holes. No, I can't. Here, this is a shitty pedal. You're gonna buy that one. No, I'm gonna go and say this was here. This is like Legos with S at the end. This is fun. Okay. And so now we're going to look at the machine that does this. Are you still with me? I'm confused, but I'm getting there. So now we're going to take something very low techy, which is solder, heat, which in my case always fails. And we're going to show you how that's done high techy. So inside this thing, I have been just told by the professionals, is not oxygen. That's what we breathe, right?
It's not air.
It's not air. It's nitrogen, which is what we don't breathe because that way it's ensured that there's no oxidization on the solder points and best product for you. But look at this. Dave, can you see the screen up there? Which is freaking ridiculous. At the bottom, we're seeing the underside of the board right now. And what's happening is there's a little fountain of solder spraying up. And that fountain sprays up to the points. And we're seeing it in real time what's happening now underneath the board. The board, see, glides over the fountain of solder in a nitrogen atmosphere. That sounds like we're on some crazy planet. And solders through the whole components. Who came up with that shit? Yeah, let's make a fountain of solder and then But apparently that works, and it's done here. See, I don't care about this stuff usually, but I'm impressed. If it now sounds good, why not buy it? That's what I'm saying. So now we're here at testing, which for these pedals doesn't make the most sense yet because it's small volume. So Andrea's actually gonna sit at home going like, yeah, sounds good, next. You know, I mean, manual stuff. But should you buy many of these, they could streamline the process by using this machine, which literally has some little guy in there with the, you know, you see the connection, the people with the measuring tool thingies, and that's literally doing exactly that on the board with 2 pins, but doing it really, really fast. But you would have to develop a program that, of course, knows exactly what the values are and go from here, go to there, blah, 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 blah. And that, of course, only makes sense in high volumes. If they do, 5 a day, you're not going to write a program that does that because the program costs money, your money. So in higher volumes, that will actually reduce the cost of Andrea sitting at home doing it by hand. But it's all doable right here. So you just saw the middle of making a pedal. The beginning is this guy testing and doing everything by hand and designing it and, figuring out the circuit board. That's all comes before that. And ordering it by yelling into the mountains. Then this is the middle part. And then you have this, which still means you need the end part, which is putting it in a box and putting knobs on and, well, then the very end part, which is collecting your money. So I want to say, what is Thay? TH for say. Thanks to Marco over here. Can you see Marco, Dave? Dave's got it. For showing us the factory, which was very interesting. He's probably thinking like, pedals? What? It's tiny shit, who needs that? Because he actually makes real world necessary stuff. This is not necessary. You don't need this. You want this. You know that, right? Pedals are not something anyone needs. This is a luxury product, like some kind of Italian sports car, that you also don't need, but you want. This is a want product. So, thank you very much for doing that. Micro Mega, which is kind of, it's small but big. Small but, in English the company would be called Small but Big. Where are we here? We're not in Turin, we're not in Milano, we are in Strambino. Yeah, you have to do a little bit of this because we're in Italy, come on. So Leslie's shaking her head, she's like, oh my God, is he really? Yes, he really is. So thank you for this. I would say you'll see more of this, but you won't, because this will be in a box and it'll make noises. All this to go, I mean, really? Yeah, really. So, thanks Andrea, thanks Fabrizio, thanks Mario. Yeah, shake your hand too. Yeah. And thanks Dave, and I really hope that Leslie doesn't hate me for bringing her here. Animals at the end.